Test.
Check.
Hello.
Where are we gonna drive?
Let's go up the canyon.
Cool.
Are you in? I think it's you.
I think it's me. Alrighty, well, welcome to the Spelts Family Business Podcast. I do that every single time.
I did
Every
it in the
time.
video with the disc golf too.
It happens.
It's just easier to say the Family Business Podcast.
I think so too. Yeah. Well, we're doing things a little different today. It's going to be kind of cool. We live in obviously a very beautiful place. You guys have seen it before in some of our golf video and our disc golf video. So we figured we'd try something a little new today, and we're going to go on a little drive and just talk about business like we always do. So
So we decided today to talk a little bit about innovation, differentiation, and education from a marketing standpoint. Something I actually talk about quite a bit, because when you have a business, let's say you're a roofer. I talked to some roofers this morning about marketing their business. They really have to focus on differentiation because there's tons of roofers. It's a super competitive marketplace. Education has to come in when you do something like Roof Max, because when we first started, the understanding of what Roof Max was so low that just people had never heard of it. So
even grasping the concept for some people was odd. It was hard, and I really had to break everything down bit by bit for people, just so they understood the concept of okay, let's make this last, rather than, because the thing has always been just wait until it's bad and then something happens and you replace it. You start getting a leak or something. So I had people all the time in the beginning saying, "Oh well, we're not gonna spend money on this. We're just gonna wait until we have to replace it."
Right.
Which that person isn't our customer every time, anyways. But the big part was just educating people on no, this does make sense. It does save you money, especially long term. And yeah, but there is a major difference between something that's established, like a roofing company, where they're doing roof replacement, and something like Roof Max.
Well, right now, you're in 3 years.
Yeah.
The response is way different because we spend time educating. It's not perfect. I bet it would take 10
For sure.
to get to where everybody kind of knows what it is. But we just had one of our roofer friends call us and say, a customer specifically asked for you guys. They have 3 buildings. I'm replacing 2 of them, but the 3rd one doesn't need it yet. So they said, we want to do the Roof Max on it. And he said, I know the guys, I'll call them. And so that connection is happening, right? People are kind of understanding that they can do this and extend the life.
For sure. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm having more and more customers where I show up and they're like, "Oh yeah, we've been hearing about you for years." Or I had a guy call me the other day. He was like, "Yeah, I've seen the trucks driving around forever, and just saw you the other day pulling your trailer, and decided to finally call you." So it's kind of cool. And then I always ask in every single appointment, because I want to know where people are hearing about us from. But I'll ask them and say, "Where'd you see us? Where'd you hear about us?" And most of the time it's Facebook, but a lot of people are starting to see us more on TV. They're hearing about us. I had one the other day where he was like, "Really, the only reason I went with you is because I have a sister in Texas, and her and 3 other friends use Roof Max in Texas, and they loved it." And so he's like, "Honestly, that's the only reason I went with you guys, just because."
Knew about it from someone.
Knew about it, heard they had a good experience, and so I just went from there.
So the third part of that is innovation, and typically what innovation is it's a way of doing things either slightly better or significantly better than what the competition is doing.
Yeah.
And so innovation, like ChatGPT, is one of the most innovative things that's happened. The language models have existed for a long time, where technology can be spoken to like we talk to each other and understand some of what was happening. But the new innovation was developing a tool that used these massive language models so that you could communicate with it more like you would a human and say, "Can you help me with this?" Yesterday I had to build a schema for a website. A schema is kind of like the code you put in the header that tells Google what the website is, what it does. It's just a really easy way to make your site rank better.
Dude, you know what I just realized?
What?
We don't have a mic split.
Plug it in. Sound might get better right now.
Yep. Sounds.
I think we're
a
close
lot
enough.
better.
It'll be okay.
Hopefully. Yeah, I just hope it wasn't picking up too much of the air from the vents. The AC.
Well, so I asked ChatGPT, I said, here, build me a schema for this site. And it built 70% of it. And I was like, oh my gosh. So it's just like code. It's HTML that tells Google what your site is and does.
Okay.
In a very brief way. And it does it in computer talk.
Yeah.
Good SEO involves having a schema. And if you don't know HTML, it's a pain.
Yeah.
And I don't know I know a little bit of HTML, but I had ChatGPT do it. And I had to go through and fix it. It was about 70% of what I needed. But it was kind of crazy.
Pretty incredible, though.
Yeah. So that's an innovation, right?
Right.
RoofMax is a little bit of both. RoofMax is like, okay, well, there's this proven technology, proven approach for what's sliding around back there. And we're back.
So what were we talking about?
Innovation.
Yeah.
So RoofMax is an innovation in and of itself. It's got a new way of doing things, a new way of thinking about things. Now coatings aren't new. They've tried coatings that go over the shingles and like waterproof everything, which was not good. It stopped the breathability of a roof. And so this was a new way of thinking about it. It's not a coating, it's a treatment that reestablishes the flexibility, the oil content in the shingles. So that's an innovation. That's a way new way of doing things and thinking about things. A lot of the roofers, when we first started, remember they were like, well, coatings, those aren't good. Those don't work.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is not a coating. This is a treatment.
And for the record, coatings do work in some situations, just not on asphalt roofs.
Yeah.
They just do not work on shingles.
Well, and there's been some interesting innovations. I've watched some of those like nano things. I don't know how well they work. They're competitors really to us. So
I haven't seen any of that stuff.
That Go Nano or whatever, you'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
It's some kind of silicone thing that does some sort of coating, strengthens the shingles, does some things that they claim. I don't know how true it is. It's hard. We know the ins and outs of RoofMax. We know it's been tested and proven. So
yeah, for sure. Hopefully the cameras are getting, at least that back camera. I don't know what it looks like, but hopefully it's capturing the view, because this is a pretty special drive.
3 minutes from our house. We're coming up the North Ogden divide, which goes up from North Ogden into Eden and the other side of the mountain. Basically, it's really beautiful. This is where this is the way you would go to get to, is it Powder? No, not Powder.
Yeah,
Powder, yeah. Powder Mountain ski and snowboard resort. So
yep. And then Snow Basin is like another 20 minutes south from the mouth of this canyon.
Yeah. So you've been thinking a little bit lately about marketing. You obviously you have RoofMax. You still sell. You have solar batteries, solar panels that you sell, solar packages. You also have roofs, so you can refer to a local roofer here, and you can get commissions on doing those.
Yep.
And you've been thinking about it. So tell me what's kind of come up.
I don't know. Like I've thought about it. The hard thing is like roofing's been around for a long, long time, and so it's like what? Like an example that I brought up earlier was Matt, my uncle, your brother-in-law, and how he's an orthodontist. He's one of the biggest in Vegas. He's got multiple practices, but one of the ways that he changed the experience of a kid coming in to get braces is he put an arcade in his practice, and that was like all their marketing, everything that they were putting out, their branding had to do with the experience of going into one of their practices, playing in the arcade until you're ready in the waiting room. And then, kids are going to talk about that. They're going to love it. It's going to make the experience more enjoyable for the customer. And so I've been trying to
what kid doesn't want to play free video games?
Right, seriously, especially when they're sitting and waiting in something that, typically is what the kid is going to dread, right? Which is going to the dentist or going to the orthodontist, getting their braces tightened. Their teeth are going to hurt for a couple days. But if you can get them excited to show up, then it's that much more
generates
special.
referrals and gets people talking about, man, my orthodontist has an arcade, a free arcade. What? Yeah, I played skee ball and I played this and that. You know, kids are going to be like, I want to go there. Well, I want that to be my orthodontist.
Right, for sure. It differentiates enough to where people will know if they're talking about an orthodontist with an arcade, it's him every single time. Now, obviously, I can't bring like an arcade to every single job and use the same idea, right?
Nor does everyone have little kids that we service.
Right, for sure. So I've been trying to think of ways that we can differentiate in roofing, but it's a little tricky. It's a little hard.
So here's some things that I know from a marketing standpoint. Obviously, you can offer extra things, right? You can do things above and beyond. You can go to the next level, and there's all kinds of things you can do there. You can make really cool offers where you give something for free. I just heard of one today. A competing marketing company gave a prize at a golf tournament, and it was a $6,000 package or $6,000 credit towards one of their packages of marketing. You know, well, that makes the person I'm bidding against feel like, oh man, maybe we should go with those guys. We get $6,000 extra towards this, you know, which assuming it's legitimate. I'm not even claiming that it's not legitimate, but assuming it's a legitimate thing that they gave and they won, it gives them an in to land a customer. I've advertising clients that have been with me for 8+ years. That's a lot of business. So that $6,000 investment, if they're going to spend several thousand a month, could be very worth it.
Right. Another thing that that just came to mind, this is one of the ideas that I've been kind of just messing with in my head, but Janine and Dan, my aunt and uncle, they live in California. They're building a house right now, but their drywall company did a full video with like drone footage and footage of them like installing and like before and after, but they just made a really cool video for them. The cool thing for the business is they get to reuse that video because the big beautiful house in California that they're building, so they get to use it as a marketing piece to show like, look at this big beautiful house that we just did, like, and this is the kind of stuff that we're going to offer you when we come and do your house. You know, you're gonna have a really cool. They built them like a 3D rendering, and they shared it on their social media, so all their friends and family are gonna see this company that did their drywall and went above and beyond to not only make do the job right, but give them a sweet video that they can show to their friends and family.
So you kind of started with drone at one point,
a little bit, and I think
we never really, continued or provided it to the client. It was more for us to be able to look at it.
For sure. And it's a little tricky too when I'm the one spraying and treating and doing everything on my own. Like if we had a couple guys coming with us, but they could fly the drone while I'm spraying on every single job or whatever. Create some sort of template where we can have a custom video for every single person, but just plug in, all the footage. And so I don't know, I think that would be kind of a cool idea. Another one is Casey has been working with, remember that app called Roofer? Yeah, where it'll give you like a custom report, and it measures everything for you, which is nice. But the cool thing is like it's gotten much, much better to where like if people hear about him, he sends them, or like online, I think there's some sort of portal where they can click a button and instantly get a quote, because it uses AI now, but it'll measure the ridge, it'll measure how many vents, it'll measure everything, get you the pitch and everything, and you order the report and you have it within a couple hours, and then it'll send it out to them personally, which is kind of cool. And I don't think that's necessarily like the most innovative thing ever, but it is. A lot of roofers are old school. They just do everything. They show up, measure everything, and that's how they do it. But
there's a roofer that I'm working with in Pennsylvania. And he, this isn't an innovation, but it's an example of something that actually is working, because he takes his bulldog around with him, and he introduces him as a woofer. He's like,
woofer.
"This is our best woofer,"
That's
and
funny.
like it's just cute, right?
Yeah.
So, but it gets people to remember them, and then he'll part of his videos is he'll go to Starbucks and he'll show the woofer, the number one woofer,
Having a
puppuccino or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
it's just really cute, and it works.
Right. It makes people remember you,
Yeah.
which is cool. You had that idea a while back for roof mats that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I need to actually just go buy the stuff for it. But it's like when somebody's done with their treatment, you give them a warranty, but you also give them a little letter or some sort of thing that says congratulations on your treatment, and it has like a Rice Krispie treat tied to it. And it's like, that's a silly little thing, just a little snack, but people will remember that. So
Right.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
There's
I need to go get a big old box of Rice Krispie treats and just keep them at the house.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm going out to do a treatment, I just grab a couple of them, staple the warranty paperwork together with a little letter that, after the congrats on your treatment part, it'll say, what to do in this event. If you notice the shingle's missing, call us up. We replace them for free for the 5-year period, or whatever it may be.
There's a auto shop here locally, A.B. Hadley,
Yeah.
and if you've gone to a mechanic, it always smells like oil and grease, and and it smells like tires. It's not the most pleasant experience, and so what they decided to do is bake fresh cookies in their lobby. And so when you walk in their lobby, instead of smelling like a mechanic shop, it smells like fresh cookies. And then when you're complete, you get in your car and they leave you a fresh cookie on your
Smells like
on
a
your
cookie
seat.
in your car,
and your
too.
car smells like a cookie, and you get a cookie,
Yeah,
so
right.
I remember the first time I went to a DoubleTree hotel, and they do fresh cookies, and I was like, you check into your room, they hand you this thing, and I was like, what's this? I open it up, I'm like, whoa, I got a cookie. Like, it was just super cool. And in the hotel world, that's hard to differentiate.
Yeah.
So that's one way they did it. But I think that would be pretty cool to do.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna fix this a little bit. Not quite wide enough.
I also really like the referral approach with the $5 bills. It would take some focus, but it's just such a unique approach. Like, anybody you text right now and say, are you willing to get a free thing? I've got this stack of $5 bills, so I'll give you a $5 bill for every single person you text.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might say, I'm not interested. Don't worry about that.
I've had people, because I tried it a handful of times, and I had people say, no, I don't care.
Yeah, but there's going to be someone
That's like, ooh, I could text 20
I'll text
people
20
right
people,
now.
right.
It's $100.
Yeah. And so I think you could do, you could even do $20 bills. Like, you think about the cost we spend on leads through marketing, it's
expensive.
$150 to $280. Mm-hmm. It's really expensive.
Just for the chance to talk to somebody and get their information too. Like, a lot of them don't even go through, so it makes our cost per lead actually go up.
It's not a warm situation.
No.
So if you really think about it, like, you could say, hey, I've got a stack of $20 bills here.
Yeah.
For every person you text, we'd want to script out the text and have a little card that you have with you. It's just in your, stuff.
Yeah.
And just say, hey, anybody you text right now, all you're going to say is this. You hand them the card and just say, the card says, hey, I had my roof treated by Roof Max, and they're offering to do free inspections for any of my friends. Could I give them your number to have a free inspection of your roof done?
Right.
And then they type that out, send it, and even if they sent it to 10 people, I bet 3 or 4 of them would say yes. Give them my number. Right.
And then out of those 3, maybe get one job, but you spent $50 getting that lead.
Well, if they sent it to 10, you spent $200. But $200 to have
$200 to have 3 shots.
To have 3 shots, that's cheaper than anything we're paying for right now.
Yeah.
I think it'd be worth it.
For sure. Yeah. Just got to get a stack of 5s, leave it in my truck.
I'll get a stack of 20s or 10s, whatever. Like,
yeah.
I think you gotta make it really incentivized.
Good
and
enough,
you gotta realize some people are just gonna say no, and that's okay.
Yeah.
but really incentivize someone to be motivated to say, okay, yeah, let's do it. I'll text 3 or 4 people for
Right.
$60.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, right. Might as well.
And then if it's too high, we've done it 5 times and we're like, all right, it hasn't really worked out. Maybe we try 10. I got that one job, but like it was expensive. You know, we just need to start with it and try.
Mess with it a little bit, tweak it as we go.
And I do think you got to be prepared. You've got to have something written out that they can just easily copy, that's super low key, that they can easily use and say, hey, try this.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's another business that I heard of the other day. They were doing something where I was like, wow, that is just genius. I can't remember. If I remember it all, speak up. I don't know. I've just been thinking about that a lot lately. Like, how can we differentiate ourselves enough to the point where people remember us? So that next time somebody's talking about their roof, they say, oh, you need to talk to these guys.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's a bit of a stretch to assume that people are going to talk about you if you don't make efforts.
For sure.
Like, if it comes up in natural conversation where someone's like, hey, I saw you had your roof done last month, I want to have mine done, that's easy. But if somebody doesn't bring it up, like to have somebody try to be your salesperson for you outside of like a mutually arranged agreement is just going to be pretty rare, you know?
For sure.
So I think you have to kind of approach it that way and just say, well, we'll see what happens. But
yeah.
So I have a business that's in a very competitive marketplace. It's Connection Media, right?
We should go this way and go through the canyon.
Okay. So Connection Media is, a digital agency plus an advertising agency. We do creative work. And it's really interesting because there's a ton of marketing agencies, from the guy who just is really good at Facebook ads all the way to massive companies that take huge retainers of $10,000 a month plus your ad spent. Like, those are super common and they're across the board for me. So I have to really try and differentiate. And we've just kind of found little niches that we're particularly good at, and that's kind of where we focus.
Yeah.
And when we talk about ourselves, I've always taken the approach of educating, because it's a super commonly missed piece where people are like, I really wish I understood marketing better, or they feel like they're wasting money on marketing. So I've keyed into that, and I just educate all the time. I educate without the ask of come and you have to work with me. I educate to help people be able to do it themselves if they want to. But interestingly enough, most of them are like, I suck at this stuff. Can you just help me with it? So we land a lot of business that way.
Yeah.
I just did a presentation to one of my networking groups on Wednesday. I had 4 people come up to me afterwards, and they're like, my website's so old, I need to redo it, and I really need to sit down with you, and can we get a one-to-one? I want to talk more about this because I really need to get going on this. Like, it was just because I spent the whole time teaching. I talked about the hierarchy of marketing needs, and I'm like, if you're new or if you haven't looked at your marketing for a while, here's where you start. Start with your Google business profile, then your website, then your social media page, then, and I went through those things first, and I'm like, and then eventually you can pay money for advertising, because a lot of people just go into it and they're like, I want to pay for advertising. There's 2 problems. If you just pay me for advertising, I might drive a bunch of traffic to your crappy website and it won't produce.
And it won't do anything.
Or you haven't developed the sales skills to be able to follow up with leads because you've only ever worked with referrals. And so you get a lead and you call them and they don't answer and you don't know what to do, or they do answer and then you get out there and you just aren't good at handling leads. There's things you need to do to be prepared to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Gotta have all your ducks in a row, or else it's just gonna go nowhere. If you don't have a pipeline, you're driving traffic too. Or a good one, at least.
Well, think about our pipeline. Let's talk about it for RoofMax. What does it look like?
I mean, for the most part, it's all Facebook, right? Or national marketing, whatever it may be. Somebody sees us somewhere.
Right now.
Well, we are, because there's national, local stuff that they're doing for us. So people are seeing us on Facebook still, Instagram, all that. But then they see us and they either click the button right then and there, And then it takes them to like an online form where they fill out some information about their roof, give us their address, their phone number, all their personal information, and then it pops up on our end, and we reach out to them, schedule a free estimate, or they'll look us up online, find our phone number, and call us. But the biggest thing is just that form, that online form. They go fill out their information. It takes 2 seconds. You got to make sure it's something that's super easy, that people aren't going to like get 5 questions down and be like, oh, this is annoying, I don't want to keep doing this, right?
Right, but you also want to gather the information you need, which obviously is contact info, but for us, it's how old is your roof, and
do you have any leaks? Have you noticed?
Do you have shingles?
Yeah, do you have shingles? We've had so many people call us with like tar and gravel roofs before,
or wood shake.
Nothing we can do. Yeah,
and we're like, that's not our business.
No.
So another piece of that, let's talk about the sales piece. So obviously you get a lead that comes in. Some people are flakes, they're not going to answer. You're not going to have that type of, immediate response. You should have some sort of drip campaign. We use a product, what's it called?
Client Tether,
which
CRM
is a CRM / drip marketing tool. It's not the best one I've ever used, but it's tied into RoofMax, so we use it.
It's just not user-friendly.
It's not super user-friendly.
It does have a lot of features that some CRMs don't have, so that's why they like it, is because everything's all in one place.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not very intuitive, and it's not easy to use.
But once it's going, when we get a lead in, if we don't get an answer from them, in a few days they're going to get a text
and an email.
Yep. And then we're going to follow up with them until they tell us to stop. Basically, we're going to keep saying, hey, you thought about getting a free estimate. We'd love to come out and do that. And timing, it does happen. People call later and they're like, hey, I got your text, and maybe they're busy, they just didn't have time to actually actually get in touch with you at the time. Right. So it keeps that. So that would be number one. If you're getting leads, have some sort of drip campaign in place that keeps in touch with people long term. Yep. They can tell you to stop if they're bugged by it, right? Or change their mind or whatever.
Yep.
The second piece is the time to call on a lead.
It's got to be fast.
It's instant.
Yeah. If
you really want people to respond quickly, it has to be instantaneously.
Yep.
In fact, when you get to 1 minute, the numbers drop. When you get to 5 minutes, they go off a precipice.
Yeah, it's exponential.
Yep. So if you have a lead generation system going, you've got to have some way that you're calling people as quickly as possible, because they're in the mode. As soon as you wait a minute or 5 minutes, they move on to something else. And how many times have you called someone and they're like, I didn't fill that out?
Too many times.
And you're like, yes, you did.
I'm like, 100% you did, dude. I have all your information.
Yeah, and it's just funny because I don't know if they're lying. Some of them are.
They just forget.
Or if they actually forgot.
I think a lot of them, they just forget. Or some of them are in a bad timing, and then they're just like, oh, I don't even want to deal with this anymore. Something else happens.
If you're seeing the cones out here in the construction, this is Utah. Utah has 2 seasons, winter and construction, and we're in construction right now. So anywhere you turn, there's something under construction and being torn up and redone. It's just how we do it.
Yeah, the I-15 is just ridiculous right now. So bad. Yeah, and I drive out to Layton like every single day in Farmington, and it's tough right now. But they can't do it in the winter, so
nope.
Especially here in the canyon. It gets so nasty on this road here.
I just love that we live,
I know,
literally 10, 15 minutes from this stuff.
I really wish the camera could do it justice.
There's no way.
There's no way, though. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Pretty crazy.
Blessed.
Mm-hmm.
So another piece to the lead thing that I just thought of that we actually ought to implement right away, if we can have Trey be on this and available. The problem is, with you being so busy, I haven't put this in place because it hasn't been, there's not really someone to be on the other side of it.
Yeah.
But chatting on a website, the little chat bot you put down in the corner, that is growing in popularity significantly. That's the way customers want to interact. They like the idea that there could be a person on the other line that's willing to answer their questions right away. Mm-hmm. So if we can have Trey be kind of available for those as they come in, that might be something we install on the website and have him be able to respond and get appointments with people right on chat, and you never talk to him on the phone.
The only problem with that is that he would literally have to be on there 24/7 just in the hopes that somebody that day is going to do it. I think
Not necessarily.
9 times out of 10, though, it's an AI bot that they're texting that just has...
You have that too, and that's totally okay. We can set that up. But if you are there and you're real, it's the most effective.
Okay.
But you set it up to kind of be either one. It notifies you, and if you're, if we're available, then we respond. If we're not, then the AI bot can kick in and answer frequently asked questions.
Sure, yeah. That's one way that Casey has innovated, at least in the solar world, is he has that text bot that generates leads for him, and it is kind of incredible how much he's how much he's been able to generate just from simply setting up an AI robot that texts people.
Yeah.
It's kind of insane, and we've tried to figure out ways where we could try and cater it towards roof max and roofing and everything else. It's worked really, really well in solar, though, for him. He's been able to generate so many leads, and it just came from a list that he bought of people that have solar, and he reaches out to them, talks about the batteries, talks about the programs, and then the bot literally just texts back and forth with them, answers their questions, and then it does everything down to like scheduling an appointment, and it puts it right on his calendar. He never has to even talk to him. It's funny because he'll have some overflow, and he'll text me or call me and say, "Hey dude, can you run this appointment for me?" And it's different than any of the other leads that we get in solar, because it's typically somebody knocked on their door and talked to him on the doorstep and then set an appointment, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting because Casey's leads, where he's texting these people, are better. I have more people show up. I have more interested customers. They're easier to sell. Like they're ready to go. But every single time, I would say 7 or 8 times out of 10, I show up and they're like, "Who is Jack? Who is this guy texting us?" Because the AI bot says that his name is Jack, and I always just laugh, and I'm like, "I'll be super transparent with you. It's a robot that you were texting. Like you were texting a computer."
That doesn't turn them off?
No. And I always just tell them, sometimes they'll still be kind of bugged about it, and I'll be like, "Listen, I don't have any control over it. I don't know where they got you." I've had people be like, "Where'd you get my information? Where'd you get my name?" Or I had a weird one the other day where the last name was wrong. They'd had a last name change, and they were like, "Where'd you get this last name?" And I was like, "Listen, man, all I do is just show up, take some pictures, tell you about the battery, man. That's all I do. I don't know." But
That's so crazy.
It's interesting because it's a form of marketing that he has
innovated, really.
But it's not like it's a new thing. I mean, people reach out and do text all the time, but the fact that it's just, he doesn't even have to touch it. He set it up once. I know it's expensive as crap. He pays a lot of money for it, but it's generated so much revenue, not only, on the battery side of things, but he's built a roof replacement company solely off these leads, and he's doing really well for his first year.
Yeah.
It's been kind of cool to see. So
that is cool.
But that's an interesting way to innovate.
I mean, if you really get down to it, no business really succeeds or does well without leads.
Right.
And
for sure.
I heard the owner of a big siding and exterior company here locally, he talked about how, you break things down, and you've got finances, and you've got operations, and you've got leads, and you've got advertising, and you've got sales, and you've got all these little pieces to a business. But he said when it really boils down to it, any business that succeeds knows how to get leads. They know how to market and bring people in through the doors.
You got to get that phone ringing
or somehow get appointments set.
Right.
So this AI chat thing that he's got going on is pretty powerful.
It's pretty sweet.
But there's things you can do on your website in general that you need in order to get more business. You need to do these things, like having your phone number be clickable. If your phone number, and somebody's looking on their phone and your phone number isn't clickable where they can tap it and call you, that's a mistake. If you don't have multiple ways to get a hold of you, phone number, a form, a chat bot, like that's a mistake. You're going to lose people who are just like, I don't know if I don't want to call, and people don't want to call
No,
nowadays.
they don't. It's crazy. I have people that will say, do not call me. We can talk over text. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, we'll set something up that way. But
I actually hate that because it takes me 2 times longer to text.
I know. It drives me crazy too.
You text, and then you're waiting for the reply, and then you're...
Right. Well, and I'm driving so much that it's impossible. Like, I just simply will not text while I'm driving. I'm driving a big old truck. If I'm pulling my trailer, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's harder for me to text and do stuff. But it's kind of interesting how AI is changing so many industries. And me and Nikhil's brother-in-law, his name's Brad, we were talking we were golfing, playing in the men's league at the barn. And he's like, dude, he's in the banking industry. He's a branch manager for KeyBank. And he was like, I know for a fact within the next 2 or 3 years, my job will be replaced by AI. He's
Really?
like, I know for a fact. He's like, AI could do my job better, quicker, more efficient, like 100%.
Really?
He's like, it will get replaced by AI. And so he's been thinking about like, what can I do? What can I start? And so we've been kind of chatting about some of his ideas, and hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing his idea on here, but I think it's a good one. You know what the Pickler is, right?
Yeah.
Where they have pickleball courts indoor. They're the biggest pickleball franchise in the nation. I think they're in like 26 states, and they've only been around for like 2 or 3 years.
Especially in states where the weather's harsh, like Utah,
Right.
or
where the winter you can't go out and just play pickleball.
Yeah.
There's feet of snow on the ground.
there's a big demand for it.
But he was like, I want to create some sort of complex where there's golf simulators. So like 4 bays of golf simulators. There's pickleball courts and indoor beach volleyball, like sand volleyball. And then and he's like, you have like some food there. He's like, I don't know if you want to bring the food in-house or if you want to have some way to partner with a company or food trucks. If you could have food trucks pull up. The problem becomes, there's a lot of hurdles with that business. It becomes, okay, are we going to lease the space or are we going to build the space?
Right.
Leasing would be cheaper, but then you'd have to renovate and try to figure out how to make that work in a space that you can find. Building is super, super expensive. Getting loans for that kind of stuff would be tricky because a small business loan is going to be impossible to get until you're 2-3 years old.
Right.
So it's
proven revenue,
all that stuff. So then it becomes finding investors and stuff. But I had the idea, Mac's Place, you always talk about it. It's a really cool, really exclusive club where you have to be invited. Lots of high net worth individuals, business owners and things like that. And it's really cool. His rules where you can't.
Oh yeah. Right now.
Yeah.
It's been raining this week. Keep going.
But yeah, like they aren't allowed to pass business cards in there. You can't talk about business in there, which I think is so cool because it almost has like a reverse psychology effect where it like makes people want to talk about it more, but they do it other places. It makes you schedule a one-to-one with them or go golfing with them or do whatever, go lunch, go to dinner. So I was like, I think it'd be cool if you could have some sort of exclusive club like that tied to this where, okay, you can take walk-ins, you can have people come in and pay, but if they pay a monthly fee, they get not only this extra stuff, like, whatever it may be. There's a massage bay where you have a bunch of massage chairs or, free food, or your family gets to come for free a certain amount of times a week or whatever it may be, Build it out so that it's a club. He wants it to be like a sports club too, where they have like all the major sports events up on TVs everywhere. Probably have like a full bar or whatever with wherever they're serving food. And you make that a part of like the exclusive club part where people can walk in, they can pay to play
especially because you're going to have kids coming to one part.
You're going to have kids coming to, so you want like some distinction between things. But
so there was a, do you remember when I went down to Vegas to that shooting front sight?
The tactical training, yeah.
Yeah. So that had that feel of what you're talking about. You would buy a membership, and they sold lifetime memberships. They actually went out of business during COVID, but they had an incredible business. But you had all these exclusive member benefits for being in there, and there's some really interesting things you can do when somebody, joins a club is you can make some very significant gifts to them if you have enough margin in what you're talking about, where you can, make really cool things. There was one of my favorite gifts I ever got was a K-bar knife that was in a shadowed box, like framed and felt backing. It was incredible.
That's sweet.
It was a super cool one, and that was at work, but it was by joining a club within work, by hitting a certain sales figure. But like, I think Max Place could do this. When you join, you get some exclusive things. That front site, one of the benefits they gave is they would sell you. So if they sold their lifelong memberships, let's say for $1,500, I don't remember what the price was, but you get to come to all these classes for free. It's just included in your membership, right?
Yeah.
But by being a member, you had discounts on ammunition sometimes, or you'd have discounts on other memberships. And so I had a friend that bought 100 memberships from them at about $100.
Really?
So he had 100 $1,500 memberships, and then he came around to all of us and he's like, these are $1,500, but I'll sell it to you for $350.
Yeah.
So he made a little bit of money on it, made all the money back that he invested in joining and getting that level of membership. But he's also selling for them, right? Because there was a benefit for him. And so it increased their numbers. They did that for a little while. I think once they ran out, they didn't want to continue to sell cheap memberships, but really it helped build their organization significantly. So that's another thing, that self-incentive, right?
Right.
Motivate people to do.
Getting people to do the hard work for you.
Yep.
Just by reaching out to their networks and their friends.
That's why I like that pay for referral approach.
Yeah, kind of the same concept. Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a cool idea. Hopefully somebody doesn't go out and steal his idea, because it's a good one. But the biggest thing is you just got to find investors.
Have you ever been to a what are they called? Dave & Buster's. It's almost like a sports version of Dave & Buster's that you're talking about.
I've never been to a Dave & Buster's, but I know what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of like an adult arcade.
Yeah, for sure.
It has a full bar, has sports, but it's more arcade type games, where this would be.
This is like
almost
it's like a sports complex.
Sports complex.
You can go in and
gym where you get exercise.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think the beach volleyball thing is cool. I also was thinking about it. I was like, you want to make it a multi-use. Like, if you're going to spend the hundreds of thousands of dollars to build it out, like let's say you get an investor and they're like, yes, let's do this, and you're going to build it out. You want to build it out to where you can like host events and stuff. Like I think about Max Place, how they had that fight that we went to. Yeah. That was super exclusive, only Max Place club members could be at that fight. Right. Which was super, super cool. It made it special, but then I don't know. That's the kind of stuff that make people talk about. Oh yeah, I went to this fight the other night because Max Place, they were, all the members, they got free tickets or cheap tickets or whatever. I think about stuff like that, and I'm like, that's the kind of stuff. They're trying to do an arm wrestling deal now. Are they really? Yeah. That's actually funny. That's smart. Sweet. Have you seen that? I know you don't follow fights very much, or like the UFC, but not a ton. I watch them sometimes. Part of the UFC now, like Dana White just went to one of those slap events. Have you seen those? Oh yeah, they're where nuts. They just slap the living crap out of each other and like literally knock each other out because they're slapping each other so hard. Yeah, something like that. They're adding that into UFC. I know it's on. I don't know if it's part of the UFC, but I know Dana White was there. He was watching one of the events. But yeah, those are nuts. Those are wild. Those are crazy. I can't imagine signing up for that purposely. Oh, I know. Let me just stand here and let you smack the crap out of me. The funny thing is, too, it's so different than, like, fighting. Like, a UFC fight is crazy enough as it is. Your only job is to go in there and just beat the ever-living crap out of the guy. Yeah, the other guy in there with you. But then the slapping difference is you're moving and trying to fight back. Yeah, but the slapping, you just stand there. Well, and the scariest guys that do it, their biggest tool is their intimidation factor. Like they're just staring you down and just just trying to act like they're not freaked out by the slap that's about to hit them. But those guys wind up and just boom, like
It's so crazy.
it is the
They
craziest
chalk
sport
up
ever.
their face so that,
Yeah, so it doesn't cut them.
so the handles slide off.
Yeah.
And if they go too far back, the slapper gets penalized, like if it hits on the
Mhm.
wrist instead of the actual hand. Like there's some interesting pieces to that. I've
It's
watched it quite a
crazy.
bit.
Yeah.
I think
Such
I watch
an
it more
odd
out of just
sport.
morbid curiosity
like,
about
what in the
why would you
world?
sign up for this?
Right.
It looks
Yeah.
so crazy, and they're tough dudes doing
Yeah.
it. So.
Oh yeah. It's crazy. It is crazy. Their faces though, when they're getting ready for the slap, they're like grunting at each other.
Yeah, that's funny.
Kind of crazy.
Well, I think that's a good episode.
Yeah, I think so too. Kind of cool. I think it's just been kind of top of mind lately for me. Just something I've been thinking about, kind of pondering, and I can always appreciate it when a business does a really good job of differentiating,
Yeah.
innovating in a way that may not necessarily be like reinventing the wheel, right? They aren't completely redoing or reshaping an industry entirely. They're just taking something that's already existing, adding a little bit of pizzazz, adding a little bit of, their own style that makes them memorable.
Yeah.
So I think it's something for anybody listening, something to pay attention to, something to think about and ponder in your own business, are ways that you can differentiate. There's so many ways nowadays. Technology has changed so many industries, and so taking advantage of stuff like AI and all that stuff can be, really useful tools.
It just popped in my head. Domino's Pizza, they have your order is placed, your pizza's toppings are being applied,
Right.
and it like sends
The
you
updates.
notifications, right? It's in the oven.
Yeah.
It's out of the oven being cut. Come and get it, or it's on its way. It's going to be delivered in this many minutes. Like that piece of technology.
Right.
It's just communication. It's over communication, and people love it. They're like, sweet.
Right.
Uber Eats does that.
Yeah.
Your order's being picked up. Your order's on the way.
Right.
It'll be there in 7 minutes. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm starving. I can't wait.
Yeah.
7 minutes. You're watching the clock. Like,
Right.
just adds that.
When you think about like Uber Eats and DoorDash in general, like that's an innovation in something that already existed,
Yeah.
but it's a third party. Like delivery existed for pizza, it existed for sandwich shops, it existed in general. But when you could get on an app and go to any restaurant, any fast food place that you wanted, order your food and have it delivered to you for a little bit more expensive,
Yeah.
like it changed.
A lot of people use it.
A ton of people. I've used it many times where I'm just too lazy. I don't want to go.
Well, I've used it when I travel because I don't have a car.
Right.
Like if I'm at a conference,
You need food.
I'm just at a hotel. Like I don't have, I don't rent a car to sit in the garage for 9 hours a day while I'm in meetings. Like
For sure.
I've used it a ton for that.
Yeah.
And it's also cool because if you just walk around a hotel, or even if you have a car, you don't always know where the cool places are. When I was in Florida, I got on and I was like, I want a lobster sandwich. I'd heard about lobster sandwiches.
Yeah.
And so I started looking for the best lobster sandwich, and there it was on Uber Eats, and I ordered it, and I was like, that was the best $50 I ever spent.
That's
Because the
awesome.
sandwich was like $35 because
Right.
of the lobster, and then
And
the
then
delivery fee, and of course
fees
I probably got fries and some
Yeah.
of the drink. So
And you got to tip the driver and all that
only in
stuff.
travel, I would never spend $50 on a meal.
No.
Or 45
No.
or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was insane. But
Yeah. Cool. Well,
I'm excited to hear what you do to innovate and put some
Yeah.
unique pieces in place to make it a special experience. I think it'll pay off.
for sure. Absolutely. Cool. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the beautiful drive and the view. I don't know. I guess we'll kind of see what it looks
Yeah,
like.
it's hard to know what it looks
It's hard
like
to
from
say. I
behind,
know we had
but-
kind of some camera issues but yeah. Anyways, if you think of anything that you want to hear us kind of chat about or hear our thoughts on, please leave a comment. If you enjoyed the video, if you like the view of our beautiful drive today, make sure and subscribe and leave a like. It helps push our podcast out to people who may enjoy the same content. So, but again, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you next time.
See ya.
Something's also sliding around back there. We don't know what it is.